Episode 3 Visitors to Paradise. The sound of a ship. Myron, who was writing a report as a watcher in the cruiser, stopped her hand when she noticed the sound. Just as she was about to stand up, the door to the room suddenly opened with a bang. Myron couldn't believe her eyes. "Hey, I've missed you, Myron." The smiling woman waved at her with a fluttering hand, threw off her dirty hat, took off her camouflage, and revealed her figure. Her flowing, beautiful golden hair. Her face. Her figure. Her bearing. Myron felt as if she were looking in a mirror. "Well, that's surprising, isn't it? Now then, where shall we start with the explanation?" The woman's voice brought a small gasp from Myron. Sho couldn't believe his eyes, but what came ashore on the island in a rubber boat was a childhood friend he hadn't seen in a very long time. "Hi, Himiko, are you? And you guys are also." Yes, in front of Sho, there were 4 people that he would never forget. They were Himiko, Takashi, Misuru, and Suguru. "Shokuen? You are Shokuen, right?" Himiko, who still looked like a beautiful young lady, stared at Sho as if she was somewhat stunned. "Is it really you, Sho? You've changed a lot, haven't you?" Takashi said the same thing. Misuru and Suguru were also silently dumbfounded. Sho then realized that he had cut his hair and that his skin was getting tanned, so he returned. "Oh yeah, actually, I cut my hair pretty short. And it's hot here, so I'm getting tanned easily. But more importantly, why are you all here?" Himiko, who had regained her composure, replied. "Of course, we're on vacation this summer. We're also here to see how Shokuen's life is going." "Oh, I didn't know that." "Well, I'm tired from the long trip." "Where's Shokuen's house?" "Is that?" "It's a very stylish house for Shokuen." "I'm surprised." Himiko let Takashi and the others take all her stuff and walked alone and empty-handed past Sho to Myron's cruiser house. "Oh, wait, Himiko-chan. That's not my house." "Then where's your house?" "It's over there." Sho pointed to a tent near the beach. Shokuen, your jokes have gotten better after not seeing you for a while." Himiko laughed, comparing the cruiser house to the tent. It wasn't a joke, but Sho had a hard time saying, "Hey Sho, I don't care what you think, but we're tired." Yeah. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to interrupt you." "Oh, Misuru." "Suguru." "No, it's dangerous." The 2 men, who had always been arrogant, walked up the stairs of the cruiser house on their own, as if Sho's things were theirs. "No, that's not my house." Without listening to Sho's warning, the 2 friends strolled into the cruiser house. A little while later, from inside came the sound of loud blows and 2 pitiful screams. "Oh, I knew it." Honestly, Sho thought, I feel like putting up a sign that says, "Beware of the fierce animals." What the hell? He tried to run up the stairs after them, but was crushed by Misuru and Suguru's bodies, and they all fell to the ground. Gah, what the hell is? Takashi was amazed at Misuru and Suguru's bruised and contorted bodies, and then at the person who appeared at the top of the stairs. "Freeze. Don't move." The person who shouted and pointed a gun at Takashi and the others from the top of the cruiser was of course the owner of this cruiser, Myron. The person who did this to Misuru and Suguru was an unexpectedly beautiful woman. Takashi forgot to blink and looked at Myron. "Wait a minute. What the hell is going on? Don't just look down at me. Will you please explain?" It was Himiko who interrupted her. Instead of being afraid of Myron, she looked up at her with an arrogant attitude. When Myron saw Himiko, she looked at her with a questioning look on her face. "I've never seen you before, have I? You're not from this island, are you?" "I'm the one who's asking the questions. Stop looking down at me and come down here." Sho's eyes met Myron's, and he looked apologetically limp, so Myron gave him an approving look, lowered her gun, and jumped easily out of the cruiser. "I see. You're Shokuen's childhood friend, aren't you?" Myron glanced at Himiko, who replied in a bad mood. "That's not the point. You have to answer my question. Who are you? What is your relationship with Shokuen? What have you 2 done to each other?" However, Myron ignored Himiko's words and spoke to Sho. Hey Shokuen, what's going on? Why are they here? That's... Hey you. Are you deaf? I'm telling you to answer my question. Shut up. You're the one who needs to explain, girl. Myron brushed off Himiko's frustration with just her voice, and Sho groaned in annoyance as Himiko fell silent. Just then, Minamata came running in, looking furious. Minamata's appearance calmed the ruckus, and Sho and the others decided to have a discussion in front of Sho's tent, where Sho and the others were seated, while Himiko sat on a simple assembly chair that Takashi had prepared. Minamata, who was standing alone, spoke. I'm sorry, but this is a privately owned island. It's not a place where outsiders like you can enter without permission. What the hell do you think you're doing, ignoring our communications and coming ashore? Depending on your reply, you may be in big trouble. Minamata's slightly threatening tone made Himiko and the others look nervous. Then Himiko replied on their behalf. We had a communications failure. Besides, we're friends of Shokuen's here. We don't need permission to come and see him. This was a malfunction? Well, she's just like reported. Both Minamata and Myron couldn't help but laugh at Himiko's outrageous rebuttal. For that matter, what kind of a person is that person? She suddenly attacked two of my friends and even pulled a gun on me like that. Himiko glared sharply at Myron, but Myron merely looked cool. Yeah, she's a teacher and the doctor on this island, and she has diplomatic immunity. So, she's allowed to carry a gun. Plus, given the circumstances, you're trespassers. I think you should be grateful for her decision to let you get away with a little scare. Jeez, you've got to be kidding me. We don't know anything about that. Yes, you do. I'm not going to thank her for hitting me out of the blue. No matter how much of a child you are, there are some things you just can't ignore. And as I'm sure you know, your actions are somewhat immoral. At Minamata's words, Masuru and Suguru both fell silent. It seemed that they were aware of this. It's wrong that Sho didn't explain it properly. That's right, Sho. You sent us to a dangerous place like that. I told you it wasn't my house, and I told you it was dangerous, didn't I? So, it's your fault for ignoring my words and going in there without permission. Sho had never been one to talk back, and his casual remark seemed to surprise Himiko and the others. Anyway, where's the ship you guys came in on? Himiko replied to Minamata's question in a resentful manner. We've already sent it to the next island. All that's left is a rubber boat. Then call them back immediately. And I'll ask you to leave immediately. I told you the communications equipment is out of order. And the ship needs refueling and maintenance, so we can't move right away. Himiko argued, her face still showing that she thought she could just say that and not have to leave. Minamata sighs and says, All right. I'll wait until the refueling and maintenance are done, but I'll take you guys to my ship. Now get ready. Hey, wait a minute. It's been a long boat ride and I'm exhausted. If you force me to do something like that and something happens to me, my family will sue. You'll only get yourself arrested if you do that. What? If your ship is also found to have landed people here without permission, the crew will be detained as soon as they reach the other side of the island. You'd better stop stating your opinions so forcefully. Wait. Takashi, who had been silent until then, stepped forward to defend Himiko. I understand where you're coming from. It's true that we're at fault. But isn't it unusual no matter what? Are you sure this is Japan? At Takashi's words, Minamata nodded, yes. This island is under joint resource development with other countries. There's a lot going on. So, if you could help me understand why she's here, with her diplomatic immunity. Anyway, you need to leave this island immediately. Wait, Minamata, you don't have to be so hasty. You see, they've come to see Shokuen, and they're probably tired from their long trip, so why don't you let them stay for a few days? Sensei, Miss Myron. Sho and Minamata were startled by Myron's sudden statement in their defense, and Himiko and the others were stunned by their sudden ally. Look, I'm renting Sho's land, and I don't want him to get into trouble with his friends here, so there's no problem for a few days, right? Yes, But both Sho and Minamata knew that Myron meant what she said. It was true that there was still plenty of time before the day of the battle, and there would be no problem if they stayed for a few days. I'll take full responsibility for these kids. Right? That's fine then, Minamata. No. But Minamata, who still looked unsure, glanced at Sho. I'm sure you're asking if I can be responsible for this too. Minamata's intentions were clear to Sho, who gave a small nod with a sigh. Minamata seemed to have finally come to a decision. If you're going to go that far, I understand. It must have been painful for Minamata to turn Sho's friends away so recklessly. When Minamata finally broke down, Himiko and the others brightened up. However, there are many places on this island that are off-limits even to islanders, so be careful not to get into trouble like you did at the cruiser house earlier. Also, I'll leave the baggage inspection to Miss Myron. I'll take care of the island entry procedures. Yes, understood. Is that all right with you? Miss Himiko. Myron smiled, and Himiko replied with a slightly miffed, yes. Then show me to my hotel. Or is it a fancy inn? Sho replied a little awkwardly to Himiko's suggestion. Himiko-chan. Sorry, we don't have those kind of accommodations on this island. Huh. What, Shokuen, you're making funny jokes again. No matter how much it's being developed, how can there be a place in Japan without accommodations? That. Himiko, Takashi, Misuru, and Suguru gradually turned pale, as if they had sensed by Sho's reaction that he was not willing to speak. Sho looked at Myron and Minamata as if to sigh. Well, I'm going to go now, but if you feel like leaving, you can always call out to me. Minamata chuckled and left, leaving Himiko and the others stunned and watching in silence. It's okay, Shokuen. They've come all this way. It's okay. I'll let you guys enjoy this island as much as you can. As Himiko and the others lightly stepped aside, Sho pondered, what's going to happen to now? Then Myron took a glance at the cruiser and laughed in a small voice. Sensei. Sho. I've brought it. Oh. Damn it. Why did you call me out of the blue? Are those the guys? Sho's friend. They're from the mainland, aren't they? Oh, I can feel the aura of a lady in that girl. She's a different type from Palti. It's really good. I'm tickled. Mike, I don't think it's a good idea for you to suddenly give me that sneaky look. A short time later, Dird and the girls came running up to Sho and the others with their big bags. Myron had called them, and behind them were Mike and Ichiro. Oh, the beautiful girls of the tropics. Hey, Sho? Do you know those girls? Misuru and Suguru, who had been complaining a lot earlier, turned their attention to Dird and the others and got excited. They, as well as Mike, were really easy to understand boys. Oh, yeah, they're classmates. We only have one class at school, though. Hey, you can introduce us later, right? Please do, Sho. Haha, well, if you can afford it. While they were doing this, Himiko was squirming and looking uncomfortable. Takashi, who was standing next to her, seemed to notice immediately and asked Sho. Sho, where's the bathroom? Toilet? Then there's. Sensing that it was Himiko who wanted to use the bathroom, Sho whispered to Myron. Sensei, can I use your bathroom? I mean, Himiko-chan is at. Oh, really? I'm sorry, but the toilet in my cruiser is out of order. And in order to enjoy this island, you'll definitely have to use Shokuen's bathroom, right? Ha. Well, yes. I guess this woman is really going to screw with Himiko and the others. Sho gave up after seeing Myron's happy face, and his shoulders slumped with disappointment. Myron, Dird, and the other female members then led Himiko to the bathroom. Nah. Himiko blushed as she saw the rocky toilet overhanging the sea. Wah, are you mocking me? What's with this toilet? Dird didn't understand why Himiko was so angry. Aaliyah mumbled, what a pain in the ass. Apuesta was confused all the way through, and Palti was smiling. It's a private room, you won't hear a sound from the waves, and it comes with a washing machine. There's nothing wrong with that, is there? And when you're done, you can use the sea sponges we have on hand, and you won't have any problems. Ugh. Hey, If you don't want to use this toilet, you can do it in the jungle or I recommend taking a dip in the ocean. It's nice and cold. Nah, nah, nah. Himiko turned even redder at such a wild statement from Dirt, though she probably said it with good intentions and kindness. Oh, you want to get rid of me that badly? Perhaps it was because of Dirt and her friend's good looks and the humiliation of having to put up with their squirming, but as expected, Himiko took a more mature tone and glared at Dirt and the girls. However, they remained calm and unconcerned. That's not true. We used it all the time until we had a house, so I wanted you, Sho's friend, to have fun too. What? You're kidding, right? Himiko was appalled by Dirt's innocent words. She looked at the faces of the other girls, but none of them seemed to be in on the joke. Most importantly, Himiko didn't think the girl named Dirt was lying. I'm not joking. Why don't you ask Sho if you want? Sho also used to do it in the ocean when he first came to the island. Hey Sho, stop it. Himiko blocked Dirt's mouth as she tried to call out for Sho loudly. Finally, the urge to pee must have gotten the best of her, because Himiko let go of her pride and shouted, I'm done here. You guys go away too. Dirt cocked her head as Himiko ran into the bathroom. Myron and Aaliyah grinned, and Apuesta and Palti chuckled tiredly at each other. An hour later, a large tent for Takashi and the boys and the tent for Himiko were completed. In front of them, Himiko clenched her fists again and trembled uncontrollably. Why do I have to stay in this shabby place? You said you were Myron, right? I'll pay you whatever you want. So, I was wondering if I could rent your cruiser house. The fact that I have diplomatic immunity means that the cruiser house is the same as a foreign country. Does Himiko have a passport and access permission? When Myron said this in a dismissive tone, Himiko became angry and called Takashi. Takashi, you need to get your passport and apply for a permit right away. All right? But it takes about a month to apply for a permit through the Japanese Foreign Ministry. But I won't give you a permit because then you won't be able to enjoy the best part of the island, right? She had no intention of lending it from the beginning. Himiko's face only reddened as Myron gave her an extremely evil smile. Stick it, that's enough. Himiko took it for granted and went into the large tent they had made for the boys. Ah, I knew it. Dirt and the others, who had already figured out Himiko's personality by then, muttered in unison. Hey, there's nothing in there. I'm not saying there should be furniture, but there should at least be a bed. Otherwise, I won't be able to sleep properly. Dirt replied to Himiko, who immediately jumped out of the tent and vented her frustration. Haha, I don't have a bed. And Himiko-chan's tent is over there. What about? Dirt pointed to the small tent she had built for Himiko. You want me to sleep in a small place like that? But it's fun to sleep in a tent. How much are you going to humiliate me? Mike looked at Himiko, who was getting a little teary-eyed, with a curious look on his face. Oh, Sho, that's quite a dominatrix you have there. I'm getting the chills again. Please don't be weird about it. Mike. Haha, I know. You've come all this way to be my guest, and I have to treat you with respect, right? Okay, Himiko-chan. We'll make you an improvised bed out of hay, then. Will that satisfy you for the time being? Hey? Yes, Sho and Sho's friends, you can help me too. Uh-huh. Okay. Hey, you guys, come on. So Sho and his friends started to make a quick bed, using the hay they had cut when they were remodeling Myron's cruiser house. Palti turned to her friends and said, Well then, shall we get ready for lunch, Himiko-san? Is there anything you can't eat? Himiko's face brightened a little, but she didn't answer the question. Instead, she replied, Lunch? What the hell kind of restaurant is that? I'd rather have Chinese. Hey, do you think there's a restaurant on an island with no accommodations? Himiko asked, annoyed at Aaliyah's sluggish comment. Then what the hell is there to eat on this island? Dirt answered thoughtfully, Let's see. Rice, right? Fish, shellfish, miso soup with seaweed, vegetables, and stewed vegetables. Himiko's expression grew grim, and Apuesta and Palti began to panic. Oh! And fresh sashimi. Hey, do you like sashimi, Himiko-chan? We have wasabi too. Dirt asked as she peered into Himiko's face. Huh? Yeah, I like it. Apuesta and Palti let out a sigh of relief. All right, then I'm going to go catch some fish. Oh, and since we're here, why don't we have Sho join us? Hey, Sho. Huh? What's Dirt doing? Dirt went over to Sho, who was making a bed for Himiko, told him why, and brought him over. Then Dirt and Sho each got a snorkel and a harpoon and ran into the ocean. Dirt jumped into the water and immediately caught a fish. Himiko seemed honestly surprised by her brilliant harpooning skills. Sho, however, seemed to be having a hard time catching one. Hey, Shokuen, do you usually do that kind of thing? Himiko asked, to which Aaliyah and the others replied to each other. Yeah, I guess. But Sho's still a terrible harpooner, but he's a lot better than he was before. Look, I think he caught one. Yes, it's fun to watch Sho grow. So, Himiko listened to the story with a somewhat distant look in her eyes. Myron had been watching Sho and Dirt work, and when she saw that everyone was working, she went inside the cruiser house. Locking the door behind her, she headed straight for the bedroom at the far end. As she entered, she muttered, "Oh dear, this is a complete mess." "Oh, I'm sorry I was in the middle of a conversation, okay?" Hearing these words, she emerged from the shadows of the bed. That's brilliant. I'm a little shocked that no one seemed to notice. Oh my God, it was Myron. There were now 2 Myrons in that room. The 2 of them had the exact same face, figure, and voice. The way they brushed their hair, their tone of voice, and their behavioral habits were all the same. The Central Intelligence Agency seems to have a lot of free time on their hands. Isn't it a waste of taxpayers' money? Oh, I'd like to compliment you on that. Even your family didn't notice it, remember? But of course, you're going to undo that surgery, aren't you? It was Myron, the one who had come out from behind the bed, who said that. When asked, Myron smiled and nodded yes. Don't worry. I won't bother the real you as long as the mission is completed safely. That was an admission that she was an imposter. The real Myron crossed her arms and asked, "You said that you were on that nuclear submarine and that you used it as bait to get here, right? But I don't know how you could have illegally entered this island. It wasn't that simple, you know? I've been hiding in plain sight, and today I finally got to meet you. You're a smart girl, so you already know what's going on, don't you? Well, as people born in the same country, I understand. Anyway, what are your plans for the future?" I'm going to a designated location now to deliver the information to my collaborators. We'll be hiding out there for a while. I'm sure it'll be easier to get out, but we don't want to raise too many red flags. Yeah, from now on, it'd be great if you could make an appointment with a picture of yourself beforehand. I'm sorry, but you know that we have to be very careful about what we do. Now, I'm going to go now. I'll be there in about an hour, so I'm going to ask you to stay on the ship until then and try to time it right. When the fake Myron turned around, the real Myron said, "Wait. One last thing. What did you have in mind to pay for the technology?" "Oh, what the hell do you think it is?" "Well, I can guess most of it. I'm sure you can't make absolute guarantees about your right to a seat on Earth." To Myron's serious expression, fake Myron calmly replied, I think the answer is as you think, though. It's still pool money, isn't it? Good grief, you're so selfish. It's the common property of the entire planet, you know. If we can just get the information from the collaborators, we win. If we do that, no matter what the other countries say, the balance of power will be tilted overwhelmingly in our favor. It might not even be a dream to unite the world. Oh my, you're like a child planning a prank. It's not like we're dealing with some dumb thief. You're talking about something else, aren't you? Because I'm a representative of Earth, after all. The fake Myron chuckled. Oh, that's right. Oh, yes, it's not really a thank you for everything you've done for me, but I have one last gift for you. The fake Myron tossed a small package with a pop and the real Myron caught it. I don't think we'll be seeing each other again, but take care. With a wink, The fake Myron waved backwards and walked out of the bedroom. What the hell is this? Left alone, Myron ripped open the package and a book came out of the package, titled How to Love, and she immediately threw it at the wall. It seemed to be a sarcastic reference to Myron's problems with approaching Minamata. What a joke! What a joke, huh? But then she happened to open a page of a book, and Myron couldn't help but crouch down and start perusing it. The page was that of a section called How to Love a Younger Man. Oh! Myron-sensei? Are you going out somewhere? Lunch will be ready soon. Palti noticed Myron coming out of the ship and called out to her, not realizing that it was the fake Myron. I have some business to attend to. Can you leave the rice, yes, and the side dishes? Yes, of course. See you later. Palti smiled as she watched the fake Myron leave with a wave of her hand. At that exact moment, Sho and Dird came back from the sea. Not only Aaliyah and the girls who had been preparing the food, but also Mike and the rest of the guys who had already finished making the beds, all looked at the catch they had made. Oh, you caught quite a lot. Good job, Sho. Haha, thanks Aaliyah, Apuesta. I don't know how much everyone will eat, but I think we can get by with this much for now. If it's not enough, let's go get some more, Sho. Thank you both Sho and Dird for your hard work. I'll take care of the rest, so Sho can take a break and talk to his friends. Dird, please sashimi these 5 fish first, then Aaliyah and Apuesta will be at the pot over there. After receiving the fish, Palti gave a quick order and got Dird and the others moving. Sho wiped himself off with a towel and sat down to rest as he was told. Himiko, Takashi, Misuru, and Suguru looked on in amazement as they stared at the remaining fresh fish. Sho watched them with a wry smile, and then Takashi stood up, came over to Sho, and sat down next to him. Did Sho catch that? I'm surprised. You're a handy guy. Haha, if you do it enough times every day, you'll learn to do it naturally. Besides, if you don't, you won't be able to eat enough food. It's a matter of life and death, Sho said with a laugh, to which Takashi replied with a slight smile. I see, so you must be desperate. Then Takashi looked around the jungle, the sea, the sky, and all of the island with great interest at this place where Sho lived and said, I was surprised when I heard that you were living in a tent here. It was true. Haha. Well, there are some circumstances. I'm just wondering why you came to this island again, Takashi. You didn't really come here to see me, did you? When he asked, Takashi glanced at Himiko and whispered. She's always been a bit fickle, hasn't she? That's true, but if you were going on vacation, there had to be someplace more decent, right? What's the point of coming to a place like this where there's no lodging or restaurants? Well, there's a lot going on over here. But Sho, isn't it crazy that we don't even have a place to stay for a few people? There were a few houses at the port, but without revealing any details, Takashi changed the subject, and Sho replied with some doubt. Yeah, that place is full of people involved in the development of undersea resources. It seems that they have a lot of top-secret documents and stuff, so they don't allow outsiders to stay there. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be living in a tent here. I'd be living there. Huh, I guess that's true. Takashi seemed a little more convinced, whereupon he showed a slight hint of annoyance and said, but the undersea resources, or is there any reason to keep it a secret to that extent? I'm not sure about that either, but I've heard that it's the special technology for drilling and such that they want to keep secret. And thanks to that kind of mess, they're not going to make this island a public tourist attraction just yet. I see. I understand the situation a little better now. Oh, but it looks like there are some decent accommodations on the next island, so if Himiko-chan is feeling overwhelmed, you can always tell Minamata-san. I'm sure he'll send a boat right away. Yeah, that Minamata guy seemed to want us to leave as soon as possible. Oh yeah, Minamata-san is the administrator of this island. And the owner of this island seems to be a very difficult person, so Minamata-san is in a lot of trouble. Difficult person? Huh, like Himiko? Then I can sympathize a little. Haha, I guess you could say that. Considering the island's situation, it's not surprising that would react that way. As Takashi said, Sho felt sorry for Minamata, but of course he couldn't tell him why. As Minamata-san said earlier, this island is a little bit special, so you shouldn't wander about without permission. There are no signs or fences around the off-limit areas, and the islanders know all the faces of the islanders, so it's easy to recognize strangers when they arrive. Sho said, hoping to get Misuru and Suguru under control, and Takashi nodded quickly. So, you want us to follow the rules? All right, I'll follow the rules. I'm not going to be happy if someone pulls a gun on me again. That's a pretty special case, though. But I don't think there's anything wrong with a short stroll, and I'm sure you can get pretty far along the beach. I see. I can see the beautiful ocean, and it would be nice to have Himiko take a walk with me. Yeah, I guess so. When their conversation had settled down there. Sho! Lunch is ready. At the sound of Dirt's voice, they headed over to the others. What's with all the fish? Hey Sho, is this all you have? During the meal, Misuru and Suguru poked Sho in a whisper. Himiko-san, how does it taste? Palti, perhaps noticing Misuru and Suguru's dissatisfied look, called out to Himiko with a bit of concern. Yes, it's delicious. At first, I was wondering what kind of amateur food I would be fed, but you are a good cook. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Misuru and Suguru, who hadn't even eaten yet, immediately reached for the food when they saw Himiko eating the fish, looking a little surprised. Then Palti smiled at Sho. When Sho saw Misuru and Suguru tucking into their dishes one after another, he bowed to Palti with a wry smile. Sho, excuse me, but could you please go to Tommy's store and pick up a few ingredients? Palti asked, offering Sho a small note along with some money. Sho took it immediately. Yeah, sure. But if it's money, No, because this is a matter of pride for me. I want to prove that even on this island we can serve food as good as on the mainland. However, the abundance of ingredients can't even compete with the mainland, but we'll cover that with our skills. Haha, okay, Palti, thanks. Nodding to the motivated Palti, Sho shoved the note and money into his pocket and took out one of the backpacks from the luggage tend to use for shopping. Sho, where are you going? Takashi saw this and asked Sho. Oh, I'm going to a store on the island run by a lady named Tommy. A store? Then I'll go with you. I don't know what kind of stuff they have, but I'm sure they have snacks and juice. I want to buy a few things for Himiko. They do, but Takashi, do you have any cash? You don't take credit cards. With that, Takashi briskly pulled out a card from his breast pocket, but there was no way there was any place on this island that accepted cards. Haha, no problem. I've got some spare cash on hand, so I'll get it for you. Well, it's been a while since I've owed Sho anything. They started walking towards Tommy's store. Where are you going, Takashi-san? It was Misuru and Suguru who were lying down in the shade of a tree. When they got up, Takashi said to them, We're going for a walk. You guys stay with Himiko. Got it. They made sure that Takashi had looked for them and laid down sluggishly again.